Hello, I am Minecraft Phenom 08, and this is episode 45 in my Automate Everything Minecraft series. In today's episode, I am going to be building a large fission reactor from the mod NuclearCraft. Now, I dove into this mod a little bit in the last episode, and I did make some thorium-bred uranium fuel, which is TBU fuel, and I built a small reactor, which is functioning very well right now. In this episode, I am going to make a much bigger reactor, and I'm going to be using a slightly different fuel. It is going to be still TBU fuel, but it will be the Oxide variant. Now, if we hover over the stats of these two fuels, we will notice that the base power is increased for the Oxide variant, and the heat is also increased. The process time remains the same, but the process to make the fuel is actually just a little bit more complicated, so we're going to dive into that today. First off, I need to build a few new machines that I have not built yet. First off would be the fluid infuser from the mod NuclearCraft, and I know I do not have this particular thing automated. Actually, what I'm probably going to have to do is shut that down. I was just building a bunch of extra tough ingots so that I had some. I think I have everything else though. So that is the fluid infuser, and then I also want to make the electrolyzer. And there are actually, NuclearCraft has a variant of this as well, but I need this particular machine. So let's do that. So I'm going to need to build one of each of these, at least for right now. In the future, I might need more, but I think for right now, that should be good. So electrolyzer, and then fluid infuser. Now what I'm going to do with these is the electrolyzer helps me turn water into its components, which would be hydrogen and oxygen primarily. It also produces some deuterium, which is another form of hydrogen. So that'll be nice to have in the future if I ever build a fusion reactor. But in the meantime, I am just trying to get the oxygen out of the water. So let's grab some speed upgrades as well. 2 stacks should be way more than enough, to be honest. And then I need something to make water, so let's see here. What are my options? I know in the past I've used the aqueous accumulator. I'm wondering if there isn't a better way to do this. And NuclearCraft actually produces a source of water. And I might have to look into this. So I think I definitely am. Because I think over a bucket of water per second might be ideal for this setup. I'm not sure if I'm going to need that level of water, but if I do, I can make it if I have this setup. I believe that the aqueous accumulator is a decent bit slower than this will be, and this will take maybe a couple minutes to craft, hopefully not too long. It will involve lots of buckets of water though, so we want the dense infinite source of water. And if it is like the dense cobble generator, it should auto output to every single side, which is completely ideal for the setup I'm going to be using. So in addition, while that's crafting, let's grab some black hole tanks, because like I said, this produces 3 different types of liquids. So let's grab 3 black hole tanks. Perfect. And then I'm not sure if I can set filters, but what I can do is let's grab some fluid, not fluid duct, but fluid conduit. And I'm not sure if I have that built yet. Okay, so I definitely think I want the ender fluid conduit. So let's see what that entails. Some conduit binder and some fused quartz. And then I think fused quartz is just quartz. I do I do not have that automated, unfortunately, so let's... I think that is a Ender IO recipe. Let's test this out. Alloys only. That looks good. Cool. That's kind of what I thought the recipe was, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I figured I'd test it out first. So that would be fused quartz. That is the alloy smelter. And then let's go back to the Ender fluid conduit. It would be this right here. Perfect. So let's just grab a bit of that. 8, I think, will be plenty. I'm not exactly sure, to be honest, but I think it will be. And then let's see if our water... It is done. Okay, so we're also going to need some power, so let's grab some flux duct here. And then we're also going to need... we're not going to need items quite yet. So let's roll over. I have built a new building for all of my NuclearCraft stuff. Or just about all of it, not necessarily all of it. And I do have some automation that I will be setting up in the wall here. I have already set up some alloy furnaces. They are actually just replacing the alloy furnace that I have over there, for the most part anyways. I still have the alloy furnace over there, but I have each one of them set up to only run one recipe, as to make things maybe a little bit quicker. So let's find a home for all of this. This whole build will be, okay, so first I'm going to pulverize thorium, and then I'm going to send it to an isotope separator, and then it will come to the fluid infuser. Okay, so the pulverizer, I think it's going to be right here. The isotope separator will be here, with the thorium-230 being output to the back, because thorium-230, at least as far as I know, is kind of worthless. So I'm just going to store it in a black hole unit. So, and I don't even need to hook that black hole unit up to my system or anything, because like I said, it's kind of useless. I could also trash the output, but whatever. And then it will come to a fluid infuser, which will be right here. So let's go ahead and set up the fluid infuser. And this will take the thorium and put oxygen into it. But to get the oxygen, we need to set up some stuff behind. So back here, I will have the... Okay, first of all, I'm going to have my 3 tanks. And the black hole unit for oxygen will hopefully be right here. Actually... I don't know if I can... I might have to reorganize them after I set them up initially, but we'll get there when we get there. Because I'm not sure that I will be able to control what liquid goes where at first. So my electrolyzer will be... Let's put it back here. The water can be back behind it. And let's see if this works. Looks like we got some water. Got 16 buckets of water. That's perfect. We're also going to need power to this guy, which is what this is for. So yeah, this needs to be sped up, and that's way more power than I want. So let's do something like that. And I do have this set up to this circuit right here, so that I can kind of tell how much power we're drawing. That's probably still a little much. It definitely is. Let me see if NuclearCraft has any additional upgrades for like energy, because it's not actually... Yeah, it's like struggling because it doesn't have enough power. I wonder what... Okay, that seems weird. This does not seem... Something seems weird and wrong. I don't think it should be flickering like that. So like I said, let me check NuclearCraft for some energy upgrades or something. So they have speed upgrade, and I don't see anything additional. One thing I might try is hooking up power to more sides, because I feel like some machines just don't like to accept a certain amount of power. Okay, this is really, really weird. I don't feel like it should be flickering like that. Yeah, I think that was just kind of and it's still kind of doing the same thing. I'm not really sure why. Okay, it gives the process power. I'm really confused as to why this is not functioning like I feel like it should. Okay, I'm going to go off camera and try to figure out what's going on right here, because I feel like it should not be doing this. And I'm going to try to figure this out, and then I'm going to be back. So I think I figured out that it's just this right here. The progress bar is essentially maybe a little bit buggy. It does seem to be running just fine. It's just, it flickers and it doesn't look like it's operating like it should, but it is making oxygen and hydrogen and everything I need. So I'm just gonna, roll with it. So what I need to do is I need to hook up some fluid conduit here, and we need to extract, and it needs to be always on. And I might want to grab some speed upgrades as well. 15 is what we need. So some speed upgrades there, and then these will need to be inserts. Okay, so this first one is hydrogen. I kind of figured that might happen. I actually should have built this with a little more room to operate here. This one is deuterium. And then let's shut this thing down for a second. That way we only have oxygen in here. And then we can drop this guy down. And theoretically, it will be oxygen. Okay, so we just need to kind of move these guys. And I definitely will need a fluid filter, to be honest. So this one is hydrogen. This one will be there. This also needs to be set up to insert only. Please. Hydrogen, deuterium, and then this one will be oxygen. But first I need to stick these speed upgrades back in. Yes, okay, so everything seems to be good. I probably should find a way to do filters here, and it very much looks like there's a way to do filters. So I should figure that out real fast. So okay, so there's a fluid filter, and we need to make some of those. I do not have those automated, so let's run back over here and get some fluid filters. Okay, so they are made like so. That's not too bad. We're going to need 3 of them. And I wonder how we configure these guys, but I can figure that out here in a second. So 3. I might very well need a bucket of each material, so let's grab 3 extra buckets here. Run back over here to our awesome NuclearCraft building. Duck down, and can I? Awesome. Because I think I'll need that. And then let's insert and this one is hydrogen. whitelist hydrogen. Cool. This one will be deuterium. Fantastic. And then this one can be oxygen, or it needs to be oxygen. It doesn't, I shouldn't say can be oxygen, it needs to be oxygen. Okay, so hopefully everything's all set up there. Let's get rid of these extra buckets. And then what we can do is we can have this ender fluid conduit here. This needs to be extract, always on, and that's insert. So now we have some oxygen in here. That should be about empty, that's fine. And now we can start to set up the rest. So I'm actually gonna do this a little bit in reverse. I'm gonna have my isotope separator. And that will be right here. And then I will also need a pulverizer. Let's grab a conversion kit for the pulverizer. And then some speed upgrades, or augments, rather. Okay, so the isotope separator. Let me make sure that thorium does not break down into multiple things. Because if it does, I will need to do something with the extra material. It does not. It's just thorium dust, which makes things a little bit simpler. The pulverizer will go right here. Let's go ahead and upgrade that bad boy. It can be input in the back and output to the side. And the isotope separator should accept the thorium. And we're going to need to cut this out a little bit. And then I will need to probably throw some speed upgrades in these guys. And okay, so we need the thorium to actually get into the pulverizer. So let's do an export bus with some acceleration cards. And I need a covered cable here. Okay, so that should be good. Let's throw in our augments to make this a little bit faster, and the thorium dust does get over here. And now we're going to need to set up some item duct. Not item duct, but item conduit, rather. And we will need some filters, because I want the thoriums to go different places. I need a black hole unit. Okay, so actually I can set this to be extract everything. This can be insert, but I need to put a filter on the insert because I need to whitelist. Not that. I need to whitelist this. And then right here, I guess I can put the other black hole, or the not other black hole unit, but the black hole unit, and this can be whitelist of the tiny clump of thorium-230. Whitelist. There we go. And that's not what we want to see. Okay, so that should work out well. It looks like everything's rolling. We are using a tremendous amount of power. We'll be able to make a tremendous amount of power, theoretically, with all of this thorium, though. Okay, so once this thorium is all oxidized, and it looks like our oxygen is going to be our limiting factor here. That's kind of unfortunate. That's okay. We will need to send this thorium to a crafter. And the crafter tier 1 from RF Tools works great, so that's what we're going to use. I'm going to grab some more item conduit. So let's do that. I do have more flux duct, and let's grab some modular storage because we need a location for all of this, all of these fuels that I'm going to be making to go. I think that already has stuff in it, so let's not grab that one. Let's grab a fresh one. Let's grab a tier 1 because that's going to be more than enough, to be honest. And then let's set this all up. So this will all go right here. What we can do here is set this to both insert and extract. The extract can be on the brown channel. We're gonna need, I already have more item conduit. I might need one more, to be honest. So let's grab one more. And then right here is our crafter, and that needs power. So let's hook that up under here. Crafter tier 1. And then we can set that up to be insert on the brown channel and extract on the blue channel. And then our modular storage can go right here with a tier 1 storage upgrade, and this can be insert on the blue channel. Awesome. So do I have this? I need to set that up to always be on. And then for this recipe, for the TBU oxide fuel, it's the same as the TBU fuel. It's just a 9x9 grid of the thorium. And then boom, you have thorium bred uranium oxide fuel. And then that we need to set up to extract always on. And our fuel should come over here. So that's fantastic. That's our fuel. Okay, so now we should probably hook this up somehow to the applied energetics system so that we have access to it. And we can do that pretty simply by using a storage bus. We're going to have to run behind everything though. So the routing might be a little bit more complicated than I would like. But that's perfectly fine. Let's grab a bunch of this. Let's also dump our oxide in there. Yeah, so this is definitely going to be the bottleneck. Unfortunately, I really don't want to place more speed upgrades in here to speed up this process. I hope I can make the TBU oxide fuel fast enough. I kind of think I will be able to. So let's just let's get back to matter at hand. Get our storage bus. We're going to need to do some digging. I think what I'm going to do is place the covered cable up here. Just hook it into the system right here. I know I do have plenty of channels available to me still, so that's fine. And then, well, you know, okay, there we go. And then my storage bus will go right here. It needs to be set to a negative priority, so let's do negative 1,000. And then it will only hold that. So nothing extra should be put into this modular storage unit. And so now we have some thorium here. What I'm going to do real fast is I'm going to clean this up, and then I'm going to be right back. So now I have all of this cleaned up. Let's get to building the actual reactor. It will be in this chamber right here, and it is going to be very large. Now, what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to build the reactor into the floor. So let's figure out where I want the controller. There's no, to be honest, there's no great place to put it, and I didn't even grab it. So let's grab that first. There's no great place to put it, but I think I'm going to put it in this block space right here. So what I mean is right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig this. I didn't actually need to do that. I'm going to dig out a big chunk of my floor here because the bottom of the reactor will actually be where this floor space is. Okay, so I want 2 over there. So let's see. And 3 on the sides. Actually, yeah, let's do 3 on the sides. That will sacrifice a little bit of reactor space that I could have, but that's fine. Okay, so this all will be reactor floor. I can't even demolish correctly. Okay, so this reactor, like I said, is going to be rather big. Let's actually just leave that alone for right now. And let's get to laying some reactor floor here. Whoops. Okay, I do have a builder or a wand with me. A diamond wand, and that will help me build this thing a little bit faster. So here's going to be the bottom and top floor dimensions, or I guess all of the dimensions. And then what we need to do is we need to build up. I think that I want the internal height to be 10 on this reactor. So like I said, it's going to be rather large. But that just means I will be able to make a lot of power with this thing. Okay, so once again, we can use our wand to build up. And I'm probably going to need more blocks here. And I'm hitting the M key to change the mode, because we need to build it all the way around, like that. Okay, so now we have 2, 3, 4. And I definitely need more reactor blocks. But they are, to be honest, pretty cheap. Okay, so I was at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I think I have enough to make it all the way across. Fantastic. So once again, let's switch our mode. Let's use our wand. Actually, I'm not switching the mode because the mode still works. That could have been tragic. Okay, so now let's actually run into our reactor. Actually, let's first click on it. It is a corrected design. As you can see by the GUI, it's not red. If it was incorrect, it would be red like that. So that's cool. So now that we have the outside casing done, let's set up the IO. So what we're going to do for the IO is we're going to have a item conduit right here. We can insert on the green channel, extract on the brown, and then let's set up some modular storage. And let's set up extract always on, and this can be insert on the brown channel, and this extract needs to be always on. Okay, so the insert or our export bus needs to be over here, import bus needs to be over here, and this needs to be set up to import some of these guys right here. So let's do that. Oh, I don't have the storage modules yet in them. Okay, so now that should work. And then let's throw a facade on right here. And then run our... Actually, I don't want to use dense conduit. I want to use regular covered cable here. So let's grab some of that. And it should be connection worthy right there. So let's... I have ME dense conduit with me. That'll work. And then I have facade. So that should be all connected up at some point soon anyways. Okay, so the fuel's already in the reactor. That's fantastic. And while we wait, let's put some torches, or while I get ready to actually set up the internal of the reactor, let's throw some torches down. And then let's see what we can do with all of this big space here. So obviously I'm going to need some reactor cells, and I'm probably going to need like a lot of these things. So let's go ahead and create a bunch of those. Let's get rid of a bunch of stuff we don't need for the time being. I shouldn't need any more than 2 of these. I will need 1 of those. Oh, whoops. Apparently I did have a fission controller with me. That's funny. Okay, so I think that's just about everything I need. I will actually be able to benefit from that. So let's figure out what kind of fuel pattern I might have. So let's go back to the coolers. In between episodes, I automated all the coolers I can make, and that would be all of the coolers except the helium cooler. So I have access to all of these things. The things I've used well in the past are the lapis cooler, the redstone cooler, and the liquid helium cooler, as well as I think, not liquid helium, but sorry, the cryothium cooler. So let's try to build a design here. Along the, actually, you know what? I'm not going to make the back wall or the front wall any different. Let's find the middle here. And let's start out with a pattern. You know what? Let's start off with a pattern something like this. And I feel like that might be underkill, to be honest. So let's actually make it a little bit taller. Okay, so what I'm going to do is first I'm going to build the pattern along the back wall and then check the thermals. And then I'm going to see if it's worthy of expanding the pattern. And what I mean by check the thermals is because when you place reactor cells beside each other, they produce more power and more heat. So like right now, it produces less heat than it will, say, when I place more reactor cells like along like this. So if I'm not in good territory early on, I certainly won't be later, because I will be producing more and more and more and more heat. So I'm going to need a lot of these cryothium coolers. Must touch at least one reactor cell. I will need some redstone coolers, I know that. So first off, let's start laying down these guys. And because these are the most efficient cooler I have, if I can place these, that's what we're going to place. So anytime I'm placing coolers between reactor cells, I should be placing these guys. Okay, so on the bottoms here, I think... Okay, so let's just check some of these out real fast. I'm not going to use moderator blocks, at least not yet. Moderator blocks are nice for getting just a little bit more power out of a lower amount of fuel, but you also produce a lot more heat that way. I'm not going to worry about Enderium, to be honest. So I think what I'm going to do is something like this. So along the outsides here, I'm going to have redstone. And they have to touch at least one reactor cell, so that's why I'm placing them like I am. I believe the gold ones, one active water and one redstone. So I think the water coolers, one reactor cell or one moderator block. Shoot. So I don't think I'll be able to use water. One reactor cell or one moderator. Hang on, I think there might be a way to improve this pattern. Yes, there is. Okay, so instead of having redstone all the way around like that, what I need to do is actually add some water, because then I can use some gold coolers, and that will be beneficial. So water there. Water. Oh, shoot. You know what? This might not work either. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work either, because if I put my gold cooler, it'll work on the corners. Actually, it'll work on the bottom in the corners, but it won't work on the sides. Okay, so this is kind of a relearning experience for me, I guess. I've played with this mod before, and I've played with designing these reactors, which is, you know, relatively complex. but it's been a little while. So I think what I can do is place water coolers here, and then that'll allow me to place gold coolers in between, because they must touch one active water and one redstone. So, and the water must touch one reactor cell or one moderator. So that should work. This should work. So these gold coolers should be active. And like I said, I can also use this on the corners. So I can put a water there. And that should work. Okay, so let's mirror the same thing on the bottom here. Or on the top, rather. And then this. And this. And now we grab the gold. Okay, is there anything I can put beside one reactor casing? Yes, that's what it's called. Had to make sure. I'm starting to can't see here. One reactor casing and one moderator block. Nope. Shoot. Okay, so like, if I went with this design, I would have a bunch of dead space around. And that's not ideal. I'm gonna figure something out off camera. I'm gonna try to figure out a better design, and then I'm gonna be right back. Okay, so I came up with a new design that will hopefully work well. The back wall and the front wall are going to be different than the rest of the reactor. I have lapis and tin coolers primarily. I have decided to use Enderium coolers in the corners because that is the only place they can be used. Tin coolers require to be between two active lapis coolers along the same axis, and they will be, as you can see. And then the lapis coolers need to be touching a reactor cell, which they will be right here, and a reactor casing, so they should be valid. So let's go ahead and build the second slice of the reactor here, and I will have reactor cells mirroring where I have the lapis here. And I'm going to build this first slice, and then I'm going to close up the reactor and see exactly what my thermals are to see if this reactor or this design is worth expanding upon. So let's grab our cryothium here, and they need to go between the cells just like before. And then let's grab some lapis. Once again, we're going to be using a bunch of lapis. And the lapis, not there. Needs to be in these spots. Okay, so let's close up the reactor and see what kind of thermals we get with this setup. I'm really hoping it's something that's not too terrible. Okay, so that's fantastic. It will produce quite a bit of power. It looks like the heat is all right. So what I'm going to do is I am going to grab a bunch of these coolers that I need, and I'm going to grab my trusty builder's wand, and we're going to try to expand this across the room. Let's see, wand. Pretty much I need lapis, reactor cells, and cryothium coolers. That's pretty much all I need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this design halfway across the room using my wand. That won't take but a few minutes. And then I'm going to come back and test thermals again, and if everything checks out, I'll expand it all the way across the room, and then we'll seal it up and turn it on and see how much power it makes. So I'm going to be back after I expand this design a little bit. So I'm back, and I have the reactor built out about halfway. I have changed the design along the bottom and the top here. Instead of just using lapis between the reactor cells here and the reactor casing, I'm using a mixture of redstone and water, which allows me to use gold blocks in what was basically dead zone before. So these gold coolers are actually pretty good coolers, and it's nice to have them in here. The redstone coolers are pretty good coolers themselves. I think 80. The lapis I think is 100. The water is 20. So we are getting, I think, slightly better cooling by using this pattern. So that's fantastic. Let's block this up now that I have it built up halfway and see what kind of power output we're going to get. Yeah, so this is going to be a problem a little bit. So I am producing a positive heat content if I were to turn it on right now. I'm obviously not going to, because if you turn it on and you have positive heat, eventually it will explode if you don't keep the heat in check. So that's not ideal. One thing I can do is I can break up the pattern a little bit and try to make it work like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish out the reactor, and then I'm going to be right back. So you know what, I think for right now I'm gonna call it good. All I did basically was on the front here, right behind these are the fuel rods in the same pattern I had before. I just went ahead and added some coolers to the front here, and I now have enough cooling that it runs negative in terms of heat, which is what you want to see. So I'm going to go ahead, and I actually need to hook up some sort of power port, and I think what I'm gonna do is back here along this wall right here, I am going to do that with a fission reactor port right here. Let's go ahead and grab a lever, and we can go ahead and turn this on for a brief moment. Because it's not hooked up to power yet, I don't really see the need to keep this thing on for very long. Like I said, this thing produces a lot of power. And yeah, this is kind of exciting. Because I have so many cells in this reactor, it's going to run through this fuel quite quickly. So I'm going to have to keep an eye out for that and make sure I have a positive fuel flow. But anyways, I think we're probably far past wrapping up point. So anyways, in today's episode, I set up this NuclearCraft building. I have a TBU fuel or TBU oxide fuel reactor right here. It's rather big. It will produce a lot of power, 126,000 RF per tick. I definitely will expand this in the future, but for right now, I'm probably just going to run it as is. I will have to keep an eye on my fuel because I kind of think I'm not keeping up at this pace, but I can probably add some more. I'll probably add like another electrolyzer to get more oxygen rather than just throwing more and more speed upgrades in there, because efficiency wise it's definitely more efficient to add more electrolyzers rather than just throwing more speed upgrades because of how the speed upgrades work in this mod. Anyways, so that's what I did in today's episode. Pretty nifty setup. Anyways, if you liked today's episode, give it a like. If you like watching automation in modded Minecraft, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, because that's kind of what I do. Signing off, I am Minecraft Phenom 08, and I will see you next time.